This is the Highly Sensitive Club, episode number 40.
Have you been told you're too sensitive, too dramatic, or too much? Do you have big feelings and deep thoughts you don't always know what to do with? I'm Stephanie Linn, a certified life coach and highly sensitive person. I've helped dozens of highly sensitive clients feel more energized, more confident, and more in control of their high sensitivity. In these episodes, you'll get the information and inspiration to level up your life as a highly sensitive person too. Welcome to the Highly Sensitive Club.
Hello, highly sensitive person, and welcome to this week's episode of the Highly Sensitive Club. Today's topic is one that I think every single highly sensitive person I know has been struggling with lately, and that is how to get out of the productivity trap. I call this a trap because, yes, there is a lot of value in being productive. We are high achievers. We like to accomplish things. We can see as highly sensitive people what the high standard is for something and how to meet it. We're taking in all these interesting nuances and details and putting them together in new ways so that we can rise to the challenge. Productivity in and of itself is not a bad thing. The problem arises when we are so caught up in productivity that we, one, forget to rest, two, make ourselves feel guilty or resentful about the time that we are taking away from being productive and moving our goals forward. And three, it keeps us stuck moving on to the next thing and not acknowledging the things that we have actually accomplished. Here's what this looks like when you are caught in the productivity trap. When you have time to yourself to read a book, go for a walk, have a great conversation with someone, go get a pedicure or a manicure, do a little bit of art, play Baldur's Gate, then you feel guilty because there's that little voice in the back of your mind saying, you should be getting some work done. There's plenty you could be doing around the house. You should be working on that next part of your project. You could be getting it done sooner. You could be getting it done faster. And this voice goes on and on and on, and it keeps us stuck so that we can't even enjoy our time off. Then we're so focused on whether or not it's done versus the journey along the way. Our big projects that have multiple steps in order to finish them and move on to the next thing, we treat them as a pass-fail, that we are either done with the project or we're not done with the project. And then we fail to acknowledge all of the steps along the way that lead us to the end and where the result is. And of course, the main problem, we're not acknowledging and we're not celebrating the things that we actually have accomplished. So we have this false sense of reality that we're not getting as much done as we want to, that we should be getting more done. And especially if you're looking around and you're comparing yourself to other people who appear to be doing all of these things, it can make you feel like I'm not measuring up. What am I even doing? I'm wasting my time, etc. Some of the really common problematic thoughts and mindset that I see from highly sensitive people like you are thoughts like, if I'm not working hard, it doesn't count. If I'm not being productive, then I'm not being valuable. If I'm not accomplishing things, I'm not good enough. If I'm not working, then I'm being lazy. I'm being weak. I should be able to get more done. I should have everything complete by now. It doesn't count until it's complete. Then, of course, when you have these thoughts, you are probably feeling guilty, ashamed, discouraged, overwhelmed, stressed, maybe even a little bit resentful because you really want to be able to take some time. You know that rest is important and that it's crucial to you, but you still feel like you're not allowed to take it until every single thing is done. Maybe one time out of 100, you fully catch up on every single thing on your to-do list, and there is nothing for you to do. There's always going to be something. When you're feeling guilty or overwhelmed or stressed, most of us are running away, which looks like distracting yourself with your phone, doing busy work, procrastinating with cleaning or taking another course or listening to another podcast or reading another book, hiding out in a Netflix binge, calling someone to chat with them, going back to something that feels easy and familiar and comfortable rather than making one small step in the thing that's uncomfortable. Or you might very well freeze, which is kind of a stutter step that happens right before the avoidance. When you freeze, You are probably feeling confused. You are probably feeling stuck because you have these thoughts like, I want to be taking time off, but I also feel like I should be working. And so when your brain is in conflict with itself, then a natural response might be freeze. You feel stuck. This leads to a lot of the analysis paralysis that highly sensitive people fall prey to. And you feel stuck before you then go into your distraction activities or your procrastination and completely avoid handling the thing that you want to be moving forward on. All of these actions then create results that reinforce the thoughts that you're thinking. You're either going 100 miles an hour or 0 miles an hour. Here's why this is so problematic for highly sensitive people. We need more rest than the average person. And that means that we need more time away from our work. Even if you love what you do, even if you feel super inspired and creative and you love digging into your particular occupations, whether that's projects at home or relationships, caregiving, a more traditional job structure, or if you're a business owner, no matter what it is, even if you love it, you still need to take time away from it so that you can let your brain rest, recharge, and regroup. You're actually more creative when you have more rest as a highly sensitive person because you are processing so much more information than the average person. And you're looking at those subtleties and those nuances, and you're picking up on people's micro expressions, and you're reading the vibe in the room, and you're over researching and pulling in all this information in order to make your decisions. This is not to say a neurotypical person is not doing a lot of thinking and they're not working hard. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is that the way that you use your batteries is at a much higher frequency than the average person. If the average person has a stream of information that they're taking in every day, you have an entire river. That means that your batteries get used much quicker than a neurotypical person. You're still using the same amount of energy, but you're using it up much faster because you're processing more. Getting caught in the productivity trap also creates a cycle where you're stuck in imposter syndrome because you're so quick to move on to the next thing that you're not taking any time to slow down and acknowledge the things that you are accomplishing. And this makes it appear to your brain as though you never get anything done, you are constantly working, but you're never seeing any progress, and you're just not the kind of person who completes things. When in actuality, you complete a lot of things. You do lots of steps that get you towards the goalpost. It just might take you a while to get to the point that it's complete and you're done working on it altogether. But you convince yourself that you don't know what you're doing, that you're just not good at this, that you should be able to move faster because other people seem to be able to move faster, which of course then leads to perfectionism and procrastination. I have a number of podcast episodes about these common highly sensitive person challenges, so you can always go back and listen to the episodes on how to overcome perfectionism, imposter syndrome, procrastination, and the other challenges that we face as highly sensitive people. In some of my previous episodes, I have talked about a creator mentality versus a worker mentality. This is a concept that I learned directly from my mentor, Frank Macri from Thriving Coach Academy. And I really like this framework because I think everyone can relate to what this looks like in your life. If you believe that you need to have something, you need to have more time, you need to have more money, you need to have more opportunity, you need to have more privileges in order to do the things that you want to do, in order to be the person that you want to be. I know this might push your buttons, but this is called a victim mentality. It's the idea that you don't have what you need in order to succeed right now. You don't know how to learn. You're stuck. You're completely at the whims of fate and whatever is happening outside of you in the external world. This is a very limiting way to be, and it's also extremely common because we're taught that we have to respond to the world around us, that things outside of us have control over us, and we just have to react to them and make the best of what we can do. This is not the case. You, especially as a highly sensitive person, have so many internal resources like your empathy, like your ability to process information, like your ability to create new ideas and new solutions that have never been seen before. to make it more efficient, to make it better. Like your attention to detail and subtleties and nuances, and especially in relationship, picking up on lots of nonverbal cues from other people, or being able to read the room or do a vibe check and get a really accurate picture with your intuition of what the world around you looks like. When you have a victim mentality, you discount all of the things that you actually have control over and the things that you can be responsible for and all your innate gifts because you believe that there's nothing you can do about the situation. This is a very limiting place to be, and it's one of the first things that I do when I'm challenging my clients and helping them overcome challenges and obstacles in their lives. You can't control the circumstances outside of you, but you can always control how you respond to them and what you do with them and how you show up. The worker mentality, which is extremely prevalent when you have this productivity trap, is the more I do, then the more I will have. And once I have those things, I can be the person I want to be. So this is very common if you are the kind of person who thinks, I just need a new scheduling system, or let me just try a Google Calendar. Let me just get another book on scheduling or productivity, and doing something different will create different results. And you're half right. Doing something different is the way to create different results. But if you're taking an action from a place where you're feeling desperate or stressed or stuck, it's going to be very different than if you take that same action from a place of confidence or courage. Or think about a time when you've initiated a conversation with someone. You're sending a text message, you're picking up the phone and giving them a call, you're sending an email, or you're arranging a time to have a conversation face to face. When you're coming at it from a place of, I need to fix this, I need to fix them, I need to change their mind, I need to be right, that's a very different place from I'm open to hearing what the other person has to say. I want this to be about connection. Our relationship is important to me. I want to figure this out, and I believe that we can create a win-win situation. It's the exact same action, sending the text message, having the conversation, initiating that dialogue with another person. But think about what happens when you come from those two different directions. When you come from a place of needing to fix or be right, then you tend to show up with attacking energy or defensive energy. You tend to make assumptions and you close your mind to what the other person has to say. When you come from a place of courage and curiosity and openness, the conversation goes much more smoothly. You're able to see the other person's side, and they're much more likely to see your side too. Same action, two different places that you start from, and it does make a huge difference. The final mode is to be the creator. And this is when you decide who you want to be first. Even if that's not who you are right now, you practice stepping into that version of you. And then you figure out what that person you want to be does naturally. Then the have will take care of itself. Think about a time when you have been debating what to eat, for instance. You can be the person who indulges your cravings and has something that tastes good in the moment but makes you feel bad later. Or you can be the kind of person who has the nutritious food that makes you feel good, whatever that looks like for you, and then allows themselves to have a treat later when it's intentional and not spontaneous and not giving into a craving. Those two versions of you, and I'm sure you've had both experiences before, approach things completely differently. When you're caught in the productivity trap, you are caught in the worker mentality that the more you do, or if you just do something differently, then you can have the result that you want, and then you can be happy, satisfied, joyful, excited, fun, all the things that you want to be. The key here is that you can choose to be that person right now. And then once you are being that person, you actually take the actions more easily and it flows so much more naturally. I have a client who is a business owner, for instance, and their thought is, I need to work on my lead magnet. I need to get back into my training program. I need to send out weekly emails. I need to send emails to my clients. I need to make sure I'm invoicing. And all of these things feel equally important. So of course they don't know which direction to go in. And so they choose to do none of those things, or they do a little bit of one thing and then a little bit of another thing, but they never finish anything and cross it off their list. I have another client who is struggling with being able to take time off and to do things that are indirectly related to their business that are not directly working with clients. This is someone who has a very high value around relationships. So they love showing up to their client's house and helping them work through the challenge of the day. They love being able to redirect resources to make sure that donations are going to the right place and that recycling is getting properly disposed of. anytime this client takes some time off to themselves, then it feels like they should be doing something more productive. They should be doing something better with their time. They're wasting their time. This causes so many problems. You probably have a lot of projects and things that you would like to get done. I completely understand this because I am constantly working on recovering my worker mentality and becoming a creator. This is something that I channel into every single part of my life, and it's something that I help my clients tap into every single coaching session every day. When you decide how much productivity is enough, you then give yourself the ability to take the rest and the time that you need. The time that you are being productive is much more focused and it's much more efficient. You spend a lot less time multitasking or procrastinating or distracting yourself and a lot more time accomplishing the things that you really want to do. I know that when you think about productivity, you want to feel confident. You want to feel calm. You want to feel content. You want to feel in control. You want to feel complete. You just want to feel like enough is enough and that you don't have to keep pushing every time you get closer to your goal. In order to feel confident or courageous or in control, you just have to work backwards to find the thoughts that work for you and that feel right in your body. Tap into your body's wisdom and figure out what feels right for you. It might be extremely courageous for you to be able to say, I'm going to work for 4 hours today. I'm going to give my concerted attention and focus for 4 hours, and then I'm going to stop. Your courageous thought might be, it's okay for me to stop after 4 hours. I am allowed to do this. It feels scary, but I'm allowed to do it anyway. Even if people judge me, this is still worthwhile for me. Maybe you want to feel in control of your productivity. So you might think some thoughts like, every single step is completely in my control. Every step gets me closer to my goal. I can handle every step of the way. Every step counts. If you want to feel content, you think thoughts like, what I've done today is enough. This step forward counts. When you think these thoughts and you feel emotions that feel more beneficial to you, then you take action differently. Then you acknowledge every step along the way. Then you decide what are your top 1, 2, or maybe 3 at the most tasks that you need to get done today. And after you've completed those tasks, you are allowed to be done. It means that maybe you make some decisions about what you're going to say no to. You know that you want to do it all and make it look effortless, but I'm sure you've also had the experience where you realized that doesn't work for you because you can't do it all, and ultimately no one is doing it all. It's an unrealistic expectation that just keeps you stuck. And so you might be deciding you're going to work for an hour and that's enough. Or you're going to take care of the next step on this task this week and that's going to be enough until next week. You decide, I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm saying no to additional tasks that don't fit into my calendar this week. I'm going to say no to the guilt or the shame. I love what Marie Forleo says about I don't. I don't is much more powerful than I can't. So this might sound like, I don't do guilt anymore. I don't beat myself up for not completing 5 different tasks in a single day. I don't need to prove something to someone else. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. The important tasks are going to get done. You are not going to let something important slide through the cracks. And even if you do, you can always fix it. There's always something that you can do. Good enough is good enough. This is one of the main thoughts that my clients have been working on. Good enough is enough. I'm making progress every single step of the way. That way, you can do an illustration in your art project. You can reach out to the person that you need to have a conversation with in order to move the needle a little bit closer to complete. Every single step counts. And when you acknowledge that, you get yourself out of the productivity trap that keeps you stuck and overwhelmed, and it leads closer and closer to burnout. Pressure to perform works in the short term. It's a sprint technique. But when you are constantly subjecting yourself to pressure in order to motivate yourself, eventually you will become demoralized. You are just as sensitive to your internal thoughts as you're sensitive to other people's words and actions toward you. I have heard a lot of thoughts from highly sensitive clients that created guilt that was supposed to make them feel motivated, and it always made them feel stuck, overwhelmed, stressed, and ashamed. You don't have to feel that way. So I want you to let go of this idea that you have to prove something, that if you're not productive, then you're not creating value, and that rest or leisure or entertainment or just simple connection or joy or pleasure are not also valuable. This is not the case. You are the creator of your highly sensitive life, and there are so many things that are a lot more valuable than being productive all the time. I would love to help you, as someone who's a couple steps down the road, to get out of the productivity trap and to be okay with the way that you want to balance your life. What your schedule looks like and where you put your energy is going to be completely individual to you. You are unique. And so the way that you design and build your life as a highly sensitive person is not going to look the same as the next highly sensitive person. But you probably have some common challenges that are totally normal for us highly sensitive people. And I can help you work through those as you unravel this necessity to be productive all the time. If you're interested, please go to stephanielynn.com, that's Linn, and book a call with me. I will help you in the call create clarity around what is keeping you stuck in the productivity trap, to be able to figure out the steps to get out of it so that you can be both productive and creative. I would love to help you make a plan. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I hope it helps you unravel this need to be productive all the time. There is a place for productivity, and there is a place for it to be enough and for you to stop. Thank you for listening, and I will see you on the next one.
Thanks for listening. If you're ready to take what you learned today to the next level, head over to stephanielynn, that's Linn.com, and book a consultation call to get started. I can't wait to see you there, my dear HSP.